and we do get confirmation that indeed General Motors is filing its initial public offering. We mentioned that they're applying for a listing on the NYSE and the Toronto Stock Exchange, so the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange. As expected, and if you've been listening to Bloomberg throughout the day, this share sale will not be an offering of common stock. GM will not be selling shares of common stock. In fact, they will be making an offering of Series B preferred stock. And Adam Johnson, I know you're out there, and you and I talked about this story earlier in the day, so this is pretty much playing out as we expected.
Yeah, Carol, I sure am. I'm going through this thing, and this is a bit of a surprise. What they're saying here, and again, we want to go through this to confirm just exactly what this is, whether there is some aspect of common stock versus all preferred. The common stock, if there is common stock in this thing, will not pay a dividend. That's a big deal. No dividend potentially. And of course, the whole reason you have the preferred is because the hedge fund guys want the dividend. So we're going to go through and try to figure out exactly what this is. I'm going through it right now, and believe me, Carol, as we come up with these nuggets, we're going to share them with you.
All right, so we'll look for some clarification on that because, as you said, we're getting a couple different conflicting headlines. Let's go to some of the other headlines, though, here, because we do have GM listing Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, B of A, Citi as some of the underwriters in this issuance. Also, Barclays, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank. I mean, Matt, no surprise that everybody pretty much on Wall Street is going to have a hand in this one.
That's right.
Because it is going to be, what, the second largest IPO offering.
That's right. And, you know, the best story was the one we did a couple days ago about Goldman undercutting all of its rivals and coming in and offering to do the deal for 3/4 of a point because it knew it wasn't going to get the lead role. Goldman Sachs is going to be involved,
right,
obviously, but it's not going to take the lead role in this. It's interesting, you know, it looks like General Motors won't be selling any shares of common stock itself,
right,
but that other holders will sell common shares in this alongside the preferred shares. Of course, Treasury is going to mainly doing this to sell down, or GM is mainly doing this to help Treasury sell down its own stake. Treasury owns 61%
right,
of the company, and that's why we see headlines coming across saying, for example, that GM won't be receiving proceeds from the selling holders. The selling holders are Treasury, and the proceeds won't come back to GM. They'll go back to you and me and Adam and Julie and all.
Because we all took part of that $50 billion taxpayer bailout.
Hey, guys, I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple things here in the filing. It says there will be 500 million shares outstanding after this offering. So when Matt says that even if the company itself is not going to offer these shares, it's going to be other holders, namely the government, that's how many shares are going to be outstanding after the offering. That's what the prospectus says. It also says the number of shares to be offered, though, overall, and the price range have not been determined. So again, here it's still a bit confusing as we sift through all of this, but there is a number on here that says 500 million that says common stock to be outstanding immediately after this offering. But again, we don't obviously know the price of it yet. And as Adam was talking about earlier today, the company itself is not going to receive the proceeds from that stock sale, from any kind of common stock sale, because it's the government selling it, so the money will come back to the taxpayers. But the offering of the convertibles, it looks like that could go to the company. So again, here, still going through all of this.
And Adam, I mean, it's interesting also, it says GM shares will trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Obviously, Canada had a hand in bailing out General Motors as well. And of course, as far as the number is concerned, we've been reporting up to $16 billion. That's how big this IPO could be.
Yeah. And by the way, the reason it's going to be listed in Toronto is, remember, a lot of the parts are sourced out of Canada, and Canadian workers are a big part of this. I want to tell you, on page 1, it says here, maximum 100 million of common stock, maximum 100 million of Series B convertible preferred. So they are both in there. That answers that one question we weren't certain about earlier, Matt. We're going to keep going through this.
We will continue to go through this. Breaking news here, General Motors listing to or filing for its initial public offering.